Welcome to Sideline Guideline.
Hot topics,
News,
fantasy football,
betting,
weekly recaps,
projections,
rankings.
injuries.
Your one-stop shop for everything football.
Welcome to Sideline Guideline. Today's episode, we're having a little different episode. We're gonna do a guest ranking episode. So we got our boy Alexis with us. Unfortunately for you listening to the audio version, you can't see his ugly ass face and his ugly ass Ravens jersey. But we'll get into his ranking. So basically today what we're gonna do, so I had Alexis do a bunch of rankings for QBs, RBs, tight end, and receiver. So we're gonna go through this ranking, and then I'm gonna, give my input what I would change and any stuff like that. And then he's gonna explain to me why he wouldn't change his rankings, or if he would after everything I've said. So without further ado, how you doing?
I'm doing really good. Thanks for having me.
Man, it's a pleasure. Always a pleasure, man. You know what it is. All right. So we're gonna get right into it. So we're gonna start with QBs. So QBs, we did a ranking 1 to 15. So it goes as follows. Patrick Mahomes, number 1, then Kyler Murray, then into Dak Prescott, then into Russell Wilson, then into Lamar Jackson, then into Josh Allen. Then after that, you got Rodgers at 7, Justin Herbert's at 8, Tom Brady, Jalen Hurts, Matthew Stafford, Ryan Tannehill, Teddy Bridgewater, Baker Mayfield, and the worst quarterback in fantasy history, Kirk Cousins, at number 15.
What do you mean, worse?
Man, Kirk Cousins is the worst quarterback that fantasy football has ever seen. If you had listened to our start and sit episode, we mentioned that Kirk Cousins is always a sit every single week.
Why?
Even if he's playing a pee-wee, high school team, you bench Kirk Cousins.
Look, I don't like Kirk Cousins, but the fact is, he often do more than 20 fantasy points, and that's what I want as a quarterback in those kind of ranking. Like 15, if he gives me 20 points, I'm gonna get. Like, you cannot have all Patrick Mahomes. Like, some people wait to draft QBs and
Yeah,
get what you get.
I mean, good thing Drake isn't here on this episode, because you just said that he mostly gets 20 points every single week.
I'm not saying every single week. Like, it happens quite often. If you look at his game logs, it happens more often than you think. That's.
I guess maybe it doesn't, because so Drake hates Kirk Cousins with a passion, because every year that he needs a bye week quarterback, Kirk Cousins will have a good matchup, and then he fires up Kirk Cousins, and then Kirk Cousins gives him fucking 8 or 10 points in that week, and then he loses that week by a couple points. So Matt Drake is not a big fan of Kirk Cousins. I'm not a big fan either. I think he's just a game manager, and I think Arizona destroyed Tannehill.
Oh yeah.
So I think Kirk Cousins is in for a rough week. I think he's gonna get put into the ground. He's gonna be dragged in the dirt a few times. So and you had a note at the bottom that you also like Joe Burrow and Jameis this week. I would definitely put Joe Burrow instead of Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
That's me personally. I also like Big Ben better this week than Kirk Cousins. Against Las Vegas defense, I'm sorry because you're wearing the Ravens jersey, but the Raiders defense wasn't good. The Ravens just sucked last week. They were horrible.
Let's not talk about that.
I mean, we're here to talk about it.
But man, yeah, the Ravens O-line is garbage this year. Stanley is hurt. Maybe he will not play for a couple of weeks. That scares me a lot as a Ravens fan. And they picked up Villanueva. The last tackle last year from Steelers. Steelers O-line last year was garbage, and they decided to sign the tackle that Steelers released. It was not a good move from there.
Yeah, Definitely not. I mean, I really like another ranking that I really like there is Teddy Two Gloves, Bridgewater at 13. I mean, he's playing against Jacksonville. Jacksonville it looks like they're going to be a dumpster fire again. I mean, it's only week 1, but they lost the Texans. So,
Well, yeah, but it's like when a team like destroy another team, QBs sometimes doesn't do like quite as good as people expected because they don't need to throw a lot. So if Teddy Bridgewater doesn't start like really strong, like and they start destroying Jacksonville, which probably would happen, like Marvin Gordon and Javante will just see a lot of carries. So I don't see like Bridgewater like really like have like 300, 400 yards and another touchdown this year. So that's why I have him. Like that's why I also have Baker Mayfield.
That's still pretty good ranking at 13 to be honest.
It's you can start him like if you don't have any better options. Like
I mean, I left him on the bench in our dynasty league because I'm starting Big Ben instead of Teddy. Yeah, I mean, so yes, again, like I was saying, man, Las Vegas defense. It's gonna get ripped a new one by the Steelers this weekend.
Rankings, like let's be honest, between like 15 and 20, you can flip them and will like.
For sure, so especially at quarterback, man, because it's just like anything can happen in a split second, man. It's like, was it like a forward pass, or was it like a handoff, and then you go from having a touchdown to having a handoff.
What I like about Big Ben, instead of Bridgewater, for example, is Big Ben can throw the big throw to Claypool.
Exactly, and he has Deontay Johnson. He has Juju. I mean, Juju, like I said in our episode that came out on Thursday, I have him as one of my start this week, even though I'm not a huge fan of Juju, but he's a big body receiver, and Big Ben likes him in the end zone. And I think Juju's at least going to get a touchdown in this one. At least a touchdown.
The only thing that scares me about Juju is I think it's going to be a lot of TD like dependent this year.
Yeah, Juju is going to be TD dependent a whole lot.
If he doesn't get a touchdown, I don't think he's going to do a lot of points. Like I think Deontay Johnson will see more targets, will have more yards. I think Claypool is also TD dependent, but he can do the big plays. Like Claypool is like a Mike Williams, Mike Evans type of receiver, like the big play, the big touchdown. And but Juju, yeah, you can. It's the Raiders defense, so you can start all of the three, and like I would be surprised as a double like wide receiver 3 or a flex options. Like it's always good to know.
Yeah, man. I mean, right now, in our redraft league, I'm kind of debating to start Juju or not. I have him as Juju or Marvin Jones.
I also have Marvin Jones.
Yeah, that's who I have in my lineup right now. I have Marvin Jones because he's a red zone target monster.
And it's Jacksonville. They will throw like 50 times every game.
Yeah, man.
They're gonna lose every game. Like I'm sorry, Jacksonville.
Definitely.
It's gonna be a tough year.
Hopefully, there's not too many of our listeners that are a Jacksonville Jaguar fan. I don't even know if there's such thing as Jacksonville Jaguar fan outside of Jacksonville. Have you ever met a Jaguar fan?
Maybe it will happen one day.
Maybe one day it will happen.
I mean, Drake was a Tampa Bay fan. I mean, before Tom Brady, he was like kind of a.
Yeah, but still,
like,
they had a Super Bowl before Tom Brady.
That's fair.
They had that stud defense with John Gruden when John Gruden knew how to coach. John Gruden, if you're watching, enjoy it this year because you're losing your job after the end of the year.
I mean, they beat the Ravens, but Ravens, man, they have 16 players on the ER right now. I'm like, it's gonna be a tough year, and I'm just like, I just want a good pick, draft full line, and it's gonna be a tough year.
It's gonna be a tough year, man, for a lot of football fans. There's a lot of injuries already. All right, well. Looking at the rest of that QB ranking, I mean, I don't really have an issue. Like Patty Mahomes at Baltimore, he's gonna eat. Kyler Murray versus Minnesota, he's gonna eat. Dak Prescott versus the Chargers, man. Like I'm calling this to be the game of the week. I'm calling this to be the game of the week. It's an afternoon game. It's like a 4 p.m. 25 game. So anyone can be watching that game. So you tune it and watch the Cowboys beat the living crap out of the Chargers.
I don't think they're gonna be. I think it's gonna be like both teams gonna put more than 30 points that game. Bet over, no matter what.
Yeah, man, the over could be interesting. All right, so I guess, man, there's nothing left to be added about those QBs. We'll try. So for our rankings, if you want the actual lists, because our website is not up yet, if you want the actual list, just hit us up on our Instagram or on Twitter, and we'll give you access to a Google document so that you can have it and just view it. But if not, just keep listening, and we'll go through it position by position. So now we're done with quarterbacks. So next will be our running backs. So let's go into running back. We're going to start from 1 to 10, and that's how we're going to go down our list. We have a ranking from 1 to 30, but we're going to go down by groups of 10, so it's easier to analyze and dissect. So at first, big surprise, Christian McCaffrey goes into Nick Chubb, Alvin Kamara, Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry, Aaron Jones, Joe Mixon, David Montgomery, Ezekiel Elliott, Kareem Hunt. So that's 1 to 10. All right, first thing that I'm going to say about this is that you don't have Najee Harris or Jonathan Taylor in your top 10, and I find this disrespectful. That's disrespectful. Put some respect on them names.
Najee Harris is a rookie, and he's got a big upside. 100% on the field last week. I like him. I mean, it's like not far from top 10. Like he's 11. So, but my point is, running back rookies, it always starts like kind of slow. Like if you look at J.K. Dobbins, like even Edward Helaire, like it's always kind of slow. Like to just adapt to the NFL. I think he's gonna have a good game, but I don't think he's gonna have a better game than the ones I mentioned earlier.
So you think that the Browns are going to have 2 top 10 running backs this week?
Oh, yeah.
Especially Kareem Hunt, that's more used in the passing game, and they're playing against Houston, and they're going to be up by like 3 touchdowns before the end of the half.
Yeah, so I won't be surprised if they bench Chubb and Baker Mayfield at the first and just I think both running backs gonna have 1 or 2 touchdowns and more than 100 yards.
I think if I'm the Browns, man, the running back that I want to protect at all costs, even if Nick Chubb is a more dominant running back in the running game, the running back that I want to protect at all costs if they're gonna have a deep playoff run is Kareem Hunt, because Kareem Hunt can do it all, and he's been called by many a human joysticks, okay? Because you can control that guy like you're playing fucking Madden, like hurdle over some people. You can kick some girls at a hotel too. Kareem Hunt, man, what a player. I'm just getting off track now, but man, I don't think Kareem Hunt is gonna have a top 10 finish this week. So I would put.
You'll be surprised, man.
I'd put Najee Harris at 10. So I'd bump it up 1 spot.
Where you put Kareem Hunt?
Or you don't put Kareem Hunt, man. Maybe you put Kareem Hunt. I don't think Kareem Hunt.
Top 15, top 20, top 25?
I'd say top 15. I'd say definitely top 15. Like maybe so right now you have Jonathan Taylor at 12. I would probably put Kareem Hunt at 12. I would put Najee at 10 and Jonathan Taylor at 11.
Okay. Yeah, that's with rankings. Like it's always like
you can move them.
Yeah, it's always like you hesitate between the threes, and I look at matchup. I'm like, Houston. Name 5 players from Houston, defense players from Houston. Like they have a shitty team. Like let's be honest.
Defensive end number 1, defensive end number 2.
Yeah, that's my point. Like I think it's gonna be horrible. Houston, they beat Jacksonville. For me, I think like Houston was the worst team in the league. Now Jacksonville or Houston is like the same.
Yeah. Also, man, that game, like I think Urban Meyers just like forgot that he was coaching in the NFL and not in college, and that he's facing like NFL talent players. That even if you're facing Houston, they're still NFL talent.
Yeah.
They're not like facing a defense that has 1 player that might freaking make it to the NFL one day. It's a whole team of guys that are in the NFL.
Let me ask you a question. Like, you have Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, and Jacksonville has James Robertson in colors out. So it's like, yeah, but
Duke Johnson.
But Carlos Hyde almost averaged 5 yards per run, and James Robinson did average 5. So Kareem Hunt and their job can average like 8 yards per run this game.
Yeah.
So if they all both like run 10 to 50 times, this is 100 yard easy if they don't catch the ball. And I think both of them is gonna have at least one touchdown. Like I think he's gonna finish like maybe like 32.
I mean,
40.
I fully agree with Nick Chubb being at number 2. I think he's going to give Christian McCaffrey a run for his money this weekend. I think they're going to be super tight. I wouldn't be surprised if Nick Chubb had 3 touchdowns this weekend.
Yeah, that's my point. So
But I think Kareem Hunt might get a touchdown, but that's it. I don't think he's going to get that many yards because if they start sitting player, they have a couple of young guys that they started with Kareem Hunt last year when Nick Chubb went down. I don't remember their names, but yeah, they have a couple guys there that I think they'd rather give the ball if they're up by 3 touchdowns than Kareem Hunt. So that's why Kareem Hunt being that high, I'm second.
because at first I had like 16, but I was like, it's just a too good
Yeah.
matchup. I'm like, I'll just put him there. If you
All
have
right.
Kareem Hunt, just start him.
Yeah, definitely. Anyone in the top 25 of these running backs you're starting, maybe even the top 30, depending on how weak your team is at running back. But all right, let's go now into the next piece of the running backs. So we have Najee Harris at 11, Jonathan Taylor at 12, DeAndre Swift at 13, Austin Eckler at 14, Damian Harris at 15, Chris Carson at 16, Clyde Edwards-Helaire at 17, Miles Sanders at 18, 19 you got Jamal Williams, and at 20 to top it off we got what's his first name? Henderson. Darrell Anderson. Yeah, I forgot his first name. Darrell Anderson. Darrell Anderson Jr.
Now, this was hard. Ranking those 10 guys, I think I did a pretty good job.
Yeah, I mean, you did a good job, and again, like you mentioned with these, like it's like you can be nitpicking, like moving them one spot, moving up one spot or down one spot. One that I would do, I would switch spot Damian Harris and Chris Carson. I would just flip. So I would just put Chris Carson right before Damian Harris. Why? Just because, on that Patriots game versus Miami, Damian Harris was running like a G, and you had Stevenson that he had a fumble in the first quarter, and then they put him back in the field, and he got carries. James White got carries. I mean, I have Damian Harris in fantasy football, and I'm starting him, and he was one of my start of the week. And I still think he's going to have a good week. It's just that Chris Carson looks like he's going to be that bell cow, clear bear cow in Seattle.
Penny's hurt.
Penny is hurt too, so it's Alex Collins behind. I don't think Alex Collins is going to eat a lot of snaps. I think Chris Carson is going to end this game with percentage of snaps maybe over 85%. That he's going to have probably potentially 70% of the carries. And I mean, the Titans defense got messed up last week. I know Kyler Murray and Hopkins had a lot to play in that because they both played a tremendous game. But I just see Chris Carson going big on that one, and he has a lot of upside because he's gonna get all of these goal line carries. So unless last game, Seattle's last game, most of their touchdowns were super long throws. I don't think it's gonna repeat like that. You can't really have a lot of games in a row that all your touchdowns are long passes. I still think they're gonna get long completions, but from time to time you're gonna get stopped at those long completion at the 5-yard line or whatever, and then Chris Carson comes in and then down that hatchet.
Week 1 to week 5, Russell Wilson always throws
MVP. But
Russell Wilson always starts the season he's gonna win the MVP, and something happens for X reason.
And you know what's gonna happen this year? Dak Prescott is gonna happen, and he's gonna be the MVP.
I would not be surprised for him by that.
I got a lot of money riding on Dak being the MVP this year.
That's why.
Mucho dinero.
I mean, I can see that happen because
Dude,
like
he's gonna be throwing like the
Like,
ball like
that's-
40 to 50
yeah.
time a game, man.
I would not be surprised if he beats the passing yards.
Passing yard record, especially that there's one extra game this
Yeah.
year, man.
And they're
easy.
gonna their
I
defense
think
is
I
shit.
think he might beat the record before like on week 15.
Yeah, maybe.
Week 15 he
Because
might beat the record, man.
Their defense is shitty, so you will always throw a lot because there's defense gonna be one of the worst defense of the league. Like it's not good, and now Lawrence is out.
Yeah, man. With Lawrence out, that's gonna be.
I know you're a Cowboys fan, but
Yeah, man. When I saw that, it was just. I didn't even kind of react. I was just like,
you're gonna cry a little bit.
I was like, one tear. I'm just like, it's what it is, you know. That's what
Like
being a
when,
Cowboys fan is. Yeah.
Like when Gus Edwards was out and Marcus Peters, the same practice, both.
Yeah, Marcus Peters. Yeah,
I was
that's-
crying my bed.
Back-to-back plays too.
Back-to-back plays.
Back-to-back plays. Man, I've never seen this. Like a coach just stopping practice altogether because two of their starters go down with ACL injuries. Like
Yeah.
I fully understand that decision.
Oh
but,
yeah.
But man,
We'll
it's
just-
something
we'll just
you
stop
rarely see,
practicing
man.
all season. Just no more practice, please.
Yeah.
J.K. Dobbins, Justice Hill.
You hate
this-
seeing guys go down during practice, but shit, man. It is
It
what it
Yeah,
is.
It's football. It's football.
It's football,
That's why
man.
you draft
It's football.
cuffs and you just hope sometimes the receiver, the running back goes down. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
If not,
It is
man.
what it is.
So if not, man, I have nothing else to add from that stretch from 11 to 20. And maybe I think Jamal Williams is a bit high on that because I think
I think it's gonna be
Green
the same.
Bay. I think Green Bay is gonna bounce back this game.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
actually
why he's
starting
so
the
high.
defense.
I think it's going to be the same game as 49ers, and Jamal Williams is a better pass catcher than D Swift.
What are you talking about? D Swift. D Swift's bread and butter is screen passes, dump off.
I know, but Jamal Williams, they bring him in for that kind of role. They pay him money.
They brought him in because DeAndre Swift is a walking Band-Aid.
I know. That's why I got him high too.
But-
I think Jamal Williams will have the same, not as good as, but he will.
I think Swift is going to surprise a lot of people this year. I think he's
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
and like if he stays healthy and he plays,
That's a big
if he
if.
plays 15 games, he might be top 10 fantasy running
Yeah,
back.
sure. I can see that happening, but the big if healthy.
Yeah.
Like Joe Mixon, when people were
Man,
like,
he's questionable. I have him in like 2 leagues, Swift, man, and since I've drafted, like
it's the same thing
he
with.
does not spend a single like the only time he's not questionable is when they clear him an hour before the game saying he's gonna play.
It's like
and then the
Eckler.
game ends and he goes back to questionable.
Oh yeah, obviously.
They're like he's not injured, but we'll just put him as questionable right
like-
away for next week just to be sure.
Hey, Killer, before the first game, yeah, he will not practice all week. And you're like, can he just like limited practice, please? Just like tell me something, and he still plays. I mean, Eckler didn't see one target the first week. That's why I'm like, but he's gonna see targets, man. Eckler is just like he's gonna be a.
Austin Eckler is gonna be a G, man. Plus,
Yeah.
like last
It's
last
all-
year he was good and he was getting 0 red zone carries,
Yeah.
and now he got all the red zone carries in week 1.
Because
That's
the-
a scary business because Anthony Lynn, dumbass Anthony Lynn, is out of the door, man.
But it's always like the injuries. Like for me, Joe Mixon, Eckler, D Swift. It's like that's. Well, I draft Eckler because he fall down in our
But in
fantasy league.
fantasy football, you got to take risks, man. It's
Yeah.
a calculated
Yeah.
risk with some safe shots. And I mean, like,
But-
I was big on Joe Mixon, but I did not draft him in any of my leagues, and now I
Mm-hmm.
hate myself. But
Well, you can like early second round, mid second round. So it's like kind of hard to draft him if, for example, you have early first round pick. You cannot. You will not
yeah,
have
I had
so-
late picks, but I did a couple of sandwich of like Najee Harris and Jonathan Taylor, Najee Harris, Saquon Barkley.
I prefer to have Jonathan Taylor than Mixon just because I think
Yeah, man.
Taylor, you don't have that big if like Joe Mixon.
Yeah.
I think if he play, he's a top 10 Joe Mixon, for me. But it's always the like if.
Yeah, it's always the
and
big
this
if.
is, like,
All right, so now we're gonna go to our next stretch of running backs. 21 to 30 goes as follow. We got Elijah Mitchell, we got Melvin Gordon, we got Javonte Williams, we got Tyson Williams, we got James Robinson, we got Shitty Miles Gaskin, we got Chase Edmonds, Josh Jacobs. That's not even playing this week. Great
Yeah.
ranking.
I just
Great ranking.
I finished Put Drake instead of Josh
Man,
Jacobs.
no, with Gruden's comment, I'm gonna put Peyton Barber there. And then after, I guess, Kenyon Drake, we're gonna have Ronald Jones and Tony Pollard.
That's that 20 to 30. Like,
Yeah, that's kind of rough. I mean, I would put Javonte at 22.
Switch them.
I don't know. I would put Gordon where Tyson Williams is.
as a Ravens fans, I think Tyson Williams will have the same kind of season as J.K. Dobbins. The first weeks, the coach is gonna be like hesitate with him. I mean, he's the most explosive running back
in that backfield.
But like J.K. Dobbins last year, Mark Ingram saw more carries until Mark Ingram was out. J.K. Dobbins was fantasy irrelevant. I had him, so he was always.
Yeah, but you had three good running backs in that backfield. Now you have.
Okay, but look at what happened against the Raiders.
Yeah, but so that's what a lot of people missed, and also a lot of people in the industry are not even talking about that. And I had a conversation the other day in the comments section with a guy on the Athletics that was talking about this, and that he was saying that Tyson Williams, he thought he wasn't gonna have, he didn't feel good about Tyson Williams because of the usage of Latavius Murray in the second half. But what's not being told is that Tyson Williams, during the second half, he got banged up and went into the concussion protocol. Mm-hmm. No one's talking about it because in the end he didn't have a concussion, but that's why he missed time. Mm-hmm. I still think that Latavius Murray is going to get a couple carries. Devonta Freeman is not going to get anything.
I'm
He's
not
the
scared
worst
about
running back in history.
Freeman and Bill.
Well, not in
never
history.
talk about him.
Devonta Freeman was good, and then he got injuries, and then he got old, and then it's just like he can't even cut sideways.
Freeman's going to have the role of Justice Hill. We don't care about Justice Hill. When J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards was healthy, nobody talked about it.
But I still think that Tyson Williams is a better receiving back, and Tyson Williams, the thing that was being talked the most about in camp and in practices from the coaching staff is that he was the best blocking running back out of that whole group. When Gus was healthy and Dobbins was still healthy, they were saying that Tyson Williams was the best pass blocker out of that backfield. Now you add Latavius Murray I guess he's okay. And then Devonta Freeman,
it's easy. Tyson Williams gonna have the J.K. Dobbins role. Murray's gonna have the Gus Edwards role. I think for the next couple weeks until Greg Roman, the offensive, the OC. He's so bad. He's so bad. So Greg Roman, if you watch this, please quit. Get fired or something.
We'll accept your resignation.
But yeah, Tyson Williams, I have him in one of my redraft leagues. He is my second running back in my lineup because
he's my RB2 in Dynasty.
Yeah, well, I have James Robinson, so it's like... so James Robinson is going to be my flex or bench, and I think Tyson Williams, if it was not for Greg Roman, is going to be
He could
higher.
be a top 15, man.
Yeah, that guy is
the way
good.
He ran, the way he ran against the Raiders.
Over 7.
Dude, he had 7.2 yards per carry, but also the explosiveness and the way he was cutting and the way he was running. And this is something, guys, that I say often, all right? Smart running backs, good running backs that succeed in this league, you see them running behind their blockers and then making the cuts behind their blockers because that's where they succeed. Man, if you're getting away from your blockers and then you have to juke a guy, there's a chance that you might get it, but there's a chance that you might get stopped. And if you do your juke, you do your move behind a blocker, there's a chance that even if he still doesn't bite, that he runs into that blocker and you're still free.
Yeah, no, Tyson Williams is really good.
He's a smart runner. Very smart runner.
I'm a Ravens fan. I watch all the games. Murray is not really good, but it's the coaching staff. Because when I look at fantasy, I want carries, I want red zone carries, and I want explosiveness. Like, you want the big play sometimes. And that's why you can have with Tyson Williams, but it's just the carries and the red zone carries. Red zone carries, Murray had them last game, so that scares me. So
we'll see. I like him.
Yeah, I really like him.
I really like him.
I really like him too.
But yeah, that's also what I was saying to in the Athletics. I was like, I mean, he's the most talented running back in that backfield, but
I put him in 24. So
Yeah.
for me, is a second running back or a flex option.
Oh.
Easy.
Alright.
So it's like it's after like you have James Robinson, Gaskin, Chase Edmonds.
Alright,
Kenny
so we're
Drake,
gonna
Kentucky.
we're gonna leave that and gonna Tyson Williams, a undrafted player, practice squad last year. We just spent 5-10 minutes talking about it, but he's
Because
good.
He's good. He's
But now it's time for to go into the wide receivers.
wide receivers. Let's
Wide
go.
receiver it is. So wide receiver 1 to 10 goes as follow: Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, DeAndre Hopkins, Stephon Diggs, DK Metcalf, Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, Justin Jefferson, AJ Brown, and CeeDee's Netsland.
Yeah.
I mean, I like this ranking. I would.
Put Cooper out here.
No, I would. You have like right now. You have Calvin Ridley at 11. I would switch Justin Jefferson and Calvin Ridley. As I told you before, I don't think Minnesota is going to do anything against the Arizona defense.
I think he's gonna play a lot of more slot options.
Slot options, yeah.
And that game, so let us land, so let quick pass. So I think it's gonna be fantasy relevant. And Ridley, the Atlanta O-lineman is not good. Like he's gonna see the more, but like first game he saw targets, they catch it, but like
No, but what happened is I think like Atlanta is gonna have to. I think they made a lot of adjustment. I hope they made a lot of adjustment in practice this week because, and we talked about it on the this week on the various shows, and it was quite alarming because Calvin Ridley on the first drive had 4 targets for 4 catches, and then after that disappeared.
Yeah.
Kyle Pitts had like 2 or 3 targets for 2 or 3 catches in the first drive, and then disappeared. And then they stopped throwing to them. It stopped, like, for me, it just didn't make sense. Like, yes, like I mentioned before, the Eagles' defense is way better than people expected to be this year because they're healthy. They got a second corner to help Darius Slade. But, I mean, as a coach, especially when he's like that's first year type of like full on head coach. You got to make adjustment in practice. I think Calvin Ridley is going to see a lot of action. Plus, the 2 starting corners for Tampa Bay Buccaneers are injured. They're out. They're not playing. That Tampa Bay front 7 is very good, but they're not covering Calvin Ridley.
no.
And Matt Ryan, although he's not one of my favorite quarterback, he's had success in the NFL, so he's going to be smart enough that he's just he's gonna release the ball quickly to Calvin Ridley, put the ball in his playmaker's hands. That's why I would put, I'd switch. I'd put him at 8, and I'd put Justin Jefferson at 11.
For me, it's the matchup. Like you said, maybe the front, like the corners are out, but Tampa's still gonna put a lot of pressure, and Matt Ryan cannot run. So if Atlanta coach, if they don't adjust, it's gonna be a tough week for Cal Pitts and Calvin Ridley. So, like I said, it's like he's still 11. Like Calvin Ridley is a dog. He's gonna finish like in the top maybe 5 this year. I wouldn't be surprised.
I think he's definitely gonna be top 5 at the end of the year.
Yeah, but like I said, it's week 2. Like adjustments are still like kind of the way, but like at week 5 and stuff like that, I'm being more comfortable. I mean, it's still a starter. Like it's still gonna be your first wide receiver in your team.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's like
Definitely.
it's just Jefferson. Like for me, I think he's gonna have a good week. I just think he's gonna like Thielen. I don't think he's gonna have a good week this week, but Jefferson, I think he's gonna have a good week.
All right. So now let's go 11 to 20. So we, like I said, we got Calvin Ridley, Tyler Lockett, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, Allen Robinson, Cooper Kupp, T. Higgins, Deontay Johnson, Robert Woods, DJ Moore.
Yep. Good.
Yeah, man. It's I like the rankings. I just you got to keep those Bucks receivers up there, but it's just, man, it's like for me, man, I just wouldn't want to rank any of them. I'm just like I'd keep them out of the ranking because I hate that situation. I hate that receiver room. They're all really freaking good, and it's going to be a toss up every single week. But like I said in in the Thursday night episode, I said that I would pick Antonio Brown over Chris Godwin, just because, like I mentioned in that
It's a
episode,
flip. Like,
Atlanta's defense is a bad defense, and what do bad defense do very well? Allow long play, and Antonio Brown is more of a long play guy than Chris Godwin. But apart from that, man, Allen Robinson is going to eat. Cooper
Yeah.
Kupp is going to eat. T. Higgins is going to get a couple TDs, I think, man.
T. Higgins is
Because he's so good, man, and now I feel like, and like I mentioned before, like this week, I think the shift in attention is going to go towards Jamar Chase, just because he had
If
a
it
great
happens,
good game.
oh my God.
Because he had a
T.
great
Higgins.
first good game, and now I think all the teams are going to be scared. You know, they're going to be freaking out that Jamar and Joe Burrow are reunited. We have to stop it.
Fall under the table, like
Yeah.
not a lot of people talk about him. I mean, he was still like round 4, round 5 picks this year, but that guy is good. That
He's
guy
really
is
good. He's
So,
really good.
I just
If not, man, I have nothing else to add for that stretch, so we can go directly into the next stretch.
Yeah.
So from 21 to 30, we got Adam Thielen, Debo Samuel, Julio Jones, Jamar Chase, Mike Evans, Mike Williams, Devonta Smith, Cortland Sutton, Corey Davis, and Brandon Cook. I would flip Corey Davis with Debo Samuel, because I think that Debo Samuel had a great week because of that shitty Detroit defense. I think it was something like 80% of his yards came after the catch in that game. I don't think he's going to be able to school that Eagles defense easily just like that. I think Corey Davis, even if it's a tough matchup, also I'm biased because I have him in my fantasy team, so I want him to do good. I want him to do good.
Corey Davis will see a lot of targets every game.
Yeah,
He's
man.
the best receiver. They pay him a lot of money, and Zach Wilson seems to love him. So that's why it's just Debo Samuel. Man,
man.
The 49ers offense is just a nightmare, to be honest. It's just a headache every week. Like running backs, I don't know. Right receiver, I don't know who's gonna expose. Kyle
Shanahan is the biggest liar in the history, man.
So yeah, I can see him, Debo Samuel, have the same week as last week, and or have a shitty week. So that's why I put him like kind of in the middle of it. And like I said, and for me also Julio Jones, I hope he has.
Oh man, I really hope, man. I drafted him
dynasty.
as a receiver one, man, in a league that we start 3 receivers.
Oh,
And let me tell you, I did not do well last week. That team, my dynasty, my fantasy team that has Julio Jones, I got beat by like 30, 40 points, man. It was not a good time, man. It was not a good
In
time.
the dynasty, I had Eckler, Zeke, Justin Herbert, Julio Jones, Robert Wood, Kittle, all. I was like,
Yeah, you had the
First-
lowest points.
yeah,
in last
I know.
week.
And before the week, I was like, oh shit, I have a really good team this year. I can win. And after week 1, I'm like, I don't think it will happen again. I think like I have studs. Just Julio Jones. Does he have the connection with Tannehill yet? I don't think so. So that's why he's low, but it's still Julio Jones.
I'm looking for Julio to bounce back, man. The competitor that he is, man, he like put out a real freaking stinker out there last week. So I'm looking at him to bounce back big. Cortland Sutton, I'm also looking for him to bounce big again. Judy out.
Judy out.
And
drafted him.
Cortland Sutton is good, man. And I
I
have
know
him
he's good.
too in that league that I have Julio Jones. That's why I did so bad.
But my point is, you think we saw a lot of slut route last week. So I think no offense is gonna have a monster week. I think no offense is gonna see more targets.
KJ Hamler.
But no offense is a stud. He's really good.
Yo, no offense, so good, man.
So
I
good.
felt so bad for him that Drew Lock was his quarterback before this year.
But so
I
I think
kept drafting Noah Fant every single year, and I was
Because
disappointed by
Judy
Drew
got
Lock.
hurt. Which quarter? I don't. He saw 10 targets before.
Yeah, man, I think he
Oh my
went
God.
down like at the end of the first half.
Yeah, and he saw 10 targets
Yeah.
in the first half. So I think no offense gonna see more targets because of that. Curtis Sutton is good. I mean Curtis Sutton
Cortland
is a
Sutton
starter.
is a stud, man. I think he has like the talent to be a receiver one in fantasy football, and in
This
real
week
football
or-
in general.
Receiver one in your team.
Like I mean, like a receiver one, you know,
Yeah,
like that he had to hold
I
that
thought you were
spot.
talking about.
No, like the best receiver.
I was
No.
like, are you-
That shit goes to Tyreek Hill like week in, week out, man.
Yeah,
This
Tyreek
is
Hill.
vodka, alright.
No, yeah. Sutton, I love him. I wanted to draft him in all my pool. I didn't have the luck. I
Yeah, I
don't
think
have Sutton in my pool. I dropped Judy first because Judy. Yeah, he hurt. But have you seen the way he played? Dude.
Oh yeah. I also saw the way he got injured, and
Oh yeah, now.
that looks pretty bad.
I don't think he's gonna play again this year.
He might
they
come-
say week 8, but
I think
He won't
realistically
take
week
time.
10.
yeah,
Week
but
10,
he-
week 11, and he's going to be on snap counts because that's a high ankle
Yeah.
sprain.
And he's
High
a
ankle
good guy.
sprains with receivers and running backs.
Yeah, to do their cut. So I don't think they're gonna play him this year. I don't think they're gonna be in the
Depending
playoff
also on how they do. If they keep winning, they might like try to bring him back like week 11, week 12.
run. If they're in the playoff run, yeah. But
Yeah.
I don't think they will. But that's
All right.
that's just-
I also want to say Brandon Cooks. I think you
hate
should
that
start
guy.
him. I don't like him that much, but
He always starts.
you can start him at receiver 2 as well, because I think like
What's it cousin?
Houston is going to get destroyed in that one. So Tyrod Taylor is going to throw Hail Marys literally the whole game long, and the only really target that they have for long passes is Brandon Cooks. So
You always have the top.
shove Brendan Cook in your exactly.
You-
Shove Brendan Cook in your lineups. He gets 1,000 yards a season, and he like is always missing like 3 to 4 games a year. So
Oh,
he
yeah.
gets a lot of yards. He gets mucho yards. All right, so now we're gonna go into our next stretch, 31 to 40. To close it off for receivers, so we got Claypool, Jarvis Landry, DJ Shark, Marvin Jones Jr., LaVisca Chenault, Jalen Waddle, Darnell Mooney, Marquise Brown, aka Hollywood Brown. We got Juju Smith-Schuster and Sammy Watkins. Change team every season, Watkins. All right.
Yeah, this one you can just.
This one is kind of
everybody-
hard, man.
Yeah.
This one is kind of hard.
You see, I put every Jacksonville receiver there,
Yeah.
back to back, because I don't know which one to start.
I think I would prefer Marvin Jones out of the 3 just because he's the one that gets the most red zone targets. And in these types of situations, you want to maximize on red zone targets.
Oh, but
I would maybe put Jalen Waddle higher. I would maybe switch him with
but Buffalo, half
Jarvis.
defense.
Yeah, they're good. They're good. But I mean, like Waddle in his first game, he balled out.
Yeah.
And
In my-
Will Fuller
He's
is
out.
sitting again.
For personal reason.
Personal reason. I think he's still on that Julian Edelman regiment.
Oh yeah.
You know, that regiment that got him suspended last year.
And then when he was fucking buff.
Yeah, man. When Julian
Like,
Edelman came from like being a
Skinny
skinny white boy to being the guy that beats you up for your lunch money, man.
DK Metcalf. Like, okay.
Yeah, man. I had him that year, so I wasn't complaining because he didn't get caught and he had mucho
How
touchdown
can
and
you-
reception.
How can you cut him when it's like, it was like the only fantasy option, like, well, that year.
Oh man,
That's-
because he was getting old and he, without the juice, he was going down.
Yeah. Without the juice. it
Without the
was-
special
yeah.
magic juice.
But
But to
I-
come back on that stretch of players,
Because my reasoning for this kind of,
Yeah.
it's like either a flex position or a low wide
or receiver 3.
So you're like, what I want at that situation is I want targets.
Yeah.
I want catch because if you depend on the touchdown, it doesn't happen. Your guy was gonna finish with like 1 point, 2 point. You don't want that.
Yeah, but
if
you gotta think about it. All right, so let's say you got 12-team league, and
Yeah, I
you
know,
got
that's
12 you got 3 receivers.
Yeah, so it's
That's pretty much everyone's starting receivers in there.
Yeah, it's a low hand.
That's all like right here. That's receiver 3s
So-
for most teams.
So that's why I want targets because when we're playing half PPR, that in the list I did it with half PPR.
Yeah,
so you want
obviously.
target, and you want like so a guy like LaVisca Chenault can do good because he's gonna see like 10 targets, maybe have like 7 catches.
Yeah, and he's also a gadget
And-
player that
yeah.
might shove him in the backfield because
Yeah.
Urban
So my
Myers
point-
wants to give
yeah.
wants to give rushes to anyone but James Robinson.
I don't know why. But
Yeah, maybe James Robinson touched the butt of Urban
Yeah,
Meyer's
maybe.
wife or something.
But like I said, if Lavish Cauchemar or guys like that has 7 catches for 60 yards, it's gonna be like 9 points, 10 points as a flex option or a low end wide receiver 3. I'm happy with that. Like
For sure.
you like those kind of guys. Maybe will have like a 15, 20 points game. Sometimes it happens, but you won't. I always play safe. Like when I'm finishing wire, I want all my guys to do 10 points. I want my quarterback to do 20 points. If they all do that, I'm happy.
That's why you
So-
do what you do bad.
I do bad. I do really.
No, but you have because you kind of right, but you need to have a team that's mixed with nice floors, but also you want to have these guys with a huge upside because
Yeah, but
you got to get that upside because you don't know when a guy is gonna pop off on somebody else's team. You need to have that huge upside, and also you want to rack up these
It's
points
like a
for
gamble.
because a lot of like our leagues that are competitive.
Mhm.
Position at the end of the season, the rankings, position 4 to like 8
Yeah.
have the same win and losses, and it's all decided by
Mhm.
points for.
But that's
So
like
you
I
want
said,
points.
it's a gamble. Yeah, but if you don't have the touchdown, then you don't have the points.
Yeah,
because
that's for sure. That's for sure.
I mean, if you see targets and you have catches, it can be a good big play. Like it's football, everything can happen.
yeah,
Everything can happen.
anything can happen on
Tyson
any
Williams.
given
Let's go back to
Sunday.
Tyson Williams. His long touchdown was a 4th and 1,
Yeah.
and did like 30 yards touchdown.
Yeah.
So, like I said,
Because he's
anything
a
can happen.
gangster.
But at this range, I want targets. That's what I want. That's why Juju is down. I have Hollywood Brown and Sammy Watkins because Ravens gonna get destroyed. They're gonna pass the ball a lot. So
True.
and Hollywood Brown looked good. First game, he looked good. So
Yeah, Hollywood man, he put on some size, and now he can run. He can run short routes instead of just a go route. Like he learned that he can turn.
yeah, he learned. He can learn. Yeah. So like I
Now
said,
we'll see, man.
targets.
We'll see. So that was our receivers. So now we're gonna go into everybody's favorite segment, tight end rankings. Yeah, tight ends.
Tight
Literally, man,
ends.
tight ends. Like if you don't get one of the top 3 tight ends, like after that, like
I would put
I'm the
Hawkinson
guy.
in
Like
a,
I'm the guy that
always.
just waits so long for tight ends. If I
in one
don't
of the
get,
league, I didn't draft any.
yeah, you got your hands on Jared Cook.
Yeah,
That's
because
pretty good.
you cannot like rank them.
Yeah.
Like between, I think
We'll
8
go through them.
to 20.
All right. So
Just-
we'll go through the rankings. 1 to 10, we have Kelsey, Waller, Kittle, Hawkinson, Andrews, Fant, Grunk, Goddard, Higby, and Mr. Pitts. Armpits. So we got Armpits at number 10. I mean, I'm feeling all of that. I would maybe put Noah Fant a bit higher just because of the things you mentioned about him when we were doing that run receiver segment
Yeah.
with Judy being out. I think, and also Jacksonville is so bad. But it's like Miles Jack that's going to be on Noah Fant probably. I think that Noah Fant can open this up.
Yeah, but like
Gronk, I think that like OJ Howard is gonna start seeing more snaps.
yeah, but like I said, between like 7 and
Yeah.
14, 15, like it's
Yeah, I
tight
mean, I
end.
have nothing really to add. So let's jump to the
because
next.
you would put
Yeah,
Fant
go ahead.
higher, but Hawkinson, you cannot put Fant higher than Kelsey Waller.
No, I
That's-
put like in front of Andrews.
Yeah, but Chiefs are bad against tight end, and like I said, they're gonna show a lot, and they need to put
Yeah, but-
put Andrews.
Even if they need
In
to
there,
throw a
so-
lot, man. If Lamar Jackson keeps fumbling the ball.
I mean, the Raiders beat the Chiefs last year, if I remember correctly, 1 week. And
Yeah,
the
they did.
Chiefs, it's always like I said, they love to play. I think Raiders gonna be horrible this year. Like maybe the Ravens.
The Raiders are scheiße.
And I think the Chiefs gonna beat Ravens. Like I'm not fucking delusional, but I think
Oh, yeah.
Andrews they gonna need to put Andrews like in their scheme.
Yeah, man, I like Andrews. It's just I don't know, man. I'm biased. I just really love Noah Fant.
I
Like
love
I think Noah Fant is like, it's He is a wide receiver, but in the body of a tight end, and he has the speed of a receiver. He has the
Yeah.
agility of a receiver. but he's just like
That's why
the
he's
size
six.
of like 6 receivers put together.
I
Right?
love nothing, but
Oh man, yeah. All
because
right,
Hawkinson's gonna have a great season, man. Garrett
Jared Goff, man. I don't.
Jared.
We just saw he had a decent game, man. I don't
Well,
think that's
all-
ever gonna happen
all is,
ever again.
like, yeah, only passed to Hawkinson and his 2 running backs.
Yeah, man, but I think Jared Goff has an accuracy problem. He doesn't throw a lot of interception, but he misthrows. He throws in the feet
I don't like
so much,
Goff, yeah.
so much. So
Huskinson's
that's why I
good.
didn't touch Hawkinson this year, just because of that. Like, and I had a lot of draft capital invested in Hawkinson last year. Like last year, I was running like stupid amount of leagues, like 9 leagues, and I had him probably in 50% of my leagues.
And you won none of them?
No, I won a bunch of them. Like probably like a third.
That's
Yeah.
none where I played, but
Yeah, well, man, you know what they say, sucks to suck.
it sucks to suck, yeah.
All right, so now we're gonna go. We're gonna go into the final stretch of the tight ends and the final stretch of this episode, ranking episode. So 11, Jared Cook, then going to Jonnu Smith, Robert Tanyan, Cole Kmet, Gerald Everett, Austin Hooper, Juwan Johnson, Mike Gesicki, Hunter Henry, Dalton Schultz. Right now, I can tell you, Juwan Johnson got to get the hell out of there.
Who you put in? Where?
Troutman, man. I put Troutman there. The tight end, the real starting tight end for New Orleans. People, I saw, man, most of my leagues, like, Troutman is still out as a free agent, and people added Juwan Johnson, and I was like, the guy had 3 targets, and 2 happened to be for a touchdown.
Well, maybe
you
it
think
will
this,
happen again?
You think this is going to happen week in,
Maybe.
week out?
Me?
Troutman had, like,
Okay.
8 targets. 8 targets and played, like, 80% of the snaps.
I put him 17. I'm not starting from Everett to Schultz.
No, I know. I'm just saying that Troutman is a better tight end, and he's getting more opportunity. Another one that I'm getting out, like Mike Gesicki, like, get the hell out of that. Like,
I know.
He put
I
a
had
bit of
him.
fucking 0.
I had him in one of I
I
dropped
dropped
him.
him, yeah,
for
me too.
Cole Kmet.
Cole
But-
Kmet, yeah, man.
But my point is, you have nothing. Like, nothing on the thing. On the tight end, like, Gesicki last year was good.
I
so
like
that's why
I like Tyler Croft better. I like Tyler Croft better, man.
But Gesicki last year was good. Had a good season, so that's why I'm still in the. If he has another bad week,
Then
out.
he's
out.
faded for the rest of the season.
I
man.
mean, it's his last chance. Maybe he's gonna have but name the 5 last player I put there. It's horrible. Like,
I mean, it's not bad, man. I mean, I'm stuck with like Austin Hooper in Dynasty.
how you feel about it?
Not great.
Do you want Saturday B?
No, I'd rather have
I
Logan Thomas from
Yeah.
Matt Drake, but he's being stingy as hell. I
yeah,
offered
and-
him a bag of peanuts that Christian McCaffrey ate half of those peanuts, and he didn't want it. He didn't want those peanuts for Logan Thomas.
It's not in my ranking because I did the ranking after.
Yeah,
the
after Thursday. Yeah,
that's
for
why
sure, yeah.
Gibson,
Yeah.
McCoy,
All
because
these beautiful
Thompson,
players.
Thomas will be higher than maybe 11, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's,
I mean, and that makes
it's a
pretty much.
headache. Yeah,
It's a headache, like those tight ends after
Like I said,
position
in the
15.
redraft leagues where I draft 0 tight ends, everybody was drafting 2 tight ends.
Yeah.
Why? There
I
were
don't know.
people who had like Kittle and they were like, yeah, I'm drafting Robert Tonyan. I'm like, why?
I don't think
why
I
are you doing
I
that?
don't have 2 tight ends. I don't.
I had 0. I drafted Michael Thomas, put him in ER, and picked the
I
best.
drafted 0 defense, and I still ended up with the Broncos defense.
Baby.
All right, so that was it, man. Great episode, man.
Yeah,
It was great to have you. What's your Twitter?
Oh my god. It's I think it's Sideline Guide Ravens the League or something like that.
Okay, we'll find out, and we'll put it in the comment of that episode if you want to go follow him on Twitter. If not, as always, if you have start-sit question, come hit us up in the DMs of Instagram or just tweet at us on Twitter, and it goes at Sideline Guide. And if not, man, great freaking episode. I'm
Yeah.
stoked. I'm stoked for some football.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, man. So yeah, have a good one, and we'll see you next time. So we'll see you for the next episode. There's gonna be a week 2 recap. Enjoy your Sunday. Spend some time with your family, but mostly watch some football.
Yeah.
Peace out.